homies. That was really loud.
Hi. That was very, very loud. That was very loud.
I'm just
Rate
excited.
to rate. Season 2. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Rate to rate. Season 2. Say what? Say what? Okay. We have to throw that in there. I feel like that's like a guaranteed cute little thing.
That's our little intro. It's gotta go. It's gotta happen. But
So,
today's top. First of all, how are you? Catch us up for your week.
uh, just been in the books every day of the week, trying to get through school. That's it. That's my life.
That's
It's
okay.
Mookie and school.
That's okay. It's a good place to be.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. How
Uh,
about you?
work, 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 work.
Work, 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 work. For me, I mean
I don't
work,
have
work,
a
work.
day off until Friday, and everybody's been
Mm,
working since Friday. So, yay! But it's okay. We're getting a promotion.
I
So,
know. Congrats,
thanks,
Miss
thanks.
Celery Woman.
Thanks. Basically, I mean, I'm not gonna fully disclose like how much I'm gonna make and stuff, but I should be able to get through grad school without having to take out a bunch of loans. So
So happy for you.
that's
That's a
great.
goal.
Yes, I love it. Good. But on the topic of that is what I want to whine about today,
Yeah, tell
and
us what we're gonna whine about.
like just a little precursor, whatever. People that we're going to talk about today are the reason that I'm able to get promoted because it makes me look great. But at the same time,
Yeah.
what the fuck? So, what we're going to whine about today, and I'm going to have to take over a little bit because Ray's not in the workforce right now,
No,
is
I'm not.
people who go to work, have jobs, and then get there and don't do their. I'm trying not to cuss. That's my New Year resolution. I just decided.
Is it? Okay.
Who don't do their job. So, what we're
So
gonna
give
whine
us
about
some
today.
examples. Yeah,
Okay,
give us some examples.
I got you. Especially at this new place, or it's not new anymore. I've been there for like 4 months. But so, backstory: my job feels awkward. Am I good? Sound good?
Yeah, you
Okay.
sound good.
So my job is the easiest job you could ever have. Like
I second
100%.
that.
Like as long as you can lift a case of water bottles, you're good. Like that's the
Hmm.
heaviest thing you're gonna lift, right? So basically, I've explained before, but if you're new to our podcast, I work in a warehouse. I'm not gonna disclose names, all that company, whatever. But I work in a warehouse where people order. We have drivers. I pack the orders. The drivers take it and deliver it. Right? Simple as that.
Hmm.
My job entails packing these
Yes.
orders, putting shipments from vendors on the shelf, and just making sure the warehouse is clean. Like,
Right.
and then dispatching the drivers on a semi okay route, but we have a whole system that does that. So you don't even have to do much for that, right? Okay, easy job. We're not a busy location at all. There's locations in our company that do 300 plus orders. We do maybe 150. Okay, and that's from 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. Only 150 orders. Like, come on, that's nothing, right? So we have I'm going to talk about one particular person. Let's name him John.
John.
John, just because it's going to be easier for me to do this. So John came to our location from a previous location, mind you. So he's already had this job.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in, and the way our system works is you have to have an unhappiness rate under 10%. And unhappy can be for whatever reason, right? Every shift he would have 20 plus unhappies. Like, what? Meanwhile, me and this other girl, my like right
Mm-hmm.
hand, can go a whole shift being there by ourselves and have a zero unhappiness. So I don't know what he would do, but I would come in the next day and there'd be shipments from the day before that didn't even get touched. He wouldn't restock the drinks. There would still be trash from the day before everywhere. Drivers were complaining about him, like all this stuff. And I'm like, what? I mean, and come to find out after talking to my drivers, he just sits at the desk all day and does nothing. So, I mean, there you go. But my thing is, there's me and this other girl, right? And we're very like, okay, let's get this done. Let's get it out of the way. Let's make make it easy for the next shift. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
granted, some of the shipments are 150 SKUs, 200 SKUs, plus having a busy order volume during that shift. You're not gonna get it all done, but
Yeah.
touch it and get some of it done so the next shift can work on it
Right.
more, and it just gets less and less. When I'm leaving at 10 o'clock at night and there's 20 things left to get put away, and I come in at 7 a.m. the next day, and now there's still 20 things to get put away, and we've only had 6 orders since I left. What were you doing all day, sir? Like,
getting paid for nothing.
Exactly. And then he would stay later than his scheduled time, so he would get overtime doing nothing. But okay, he's gone. He's out of the way. We don't have him anymore. But that's my point. Like, and public service announcement, because I know we have young people on here. If you're gonna go to a job, go to your job and do your flipping job. Like, it's not that hard. Like, I get it. You probably don't want to be there. You don't want to do what you got to do, but you're getting paid to be there. You have a whole team counting on you to do what you got to do. So step up and do what you got to do. I mean, you don't have to be extra like me and this other girl and do like extra tasks and all this other stuff, because that's not everybody's cup of tea. I get that. But do at least the bare minimum that you're supposed to do.
I agree. And I think it really does go to show people that work at jobs that it depends. It doesn't depend, but you do affects who's coming in after you. Yeah. Like there's a lot of, like, I know food is like that. What you're doing is like that. There's a lot of jobs out there that really it depends on the person before you and how much they got done, and that reflects your shift, right? And so it's like, be considerate. Be considerate of who's coming in after you. And like Ray said, I think a lot of it has to do too with, oh my gosh, I don't even want to say this because I sound like my mom, but this generation, okay, us being a part of this generation too, okay, we're bagging on ourselves, but like this instant gratification of like, I don't have to do anything and I still get paid. The laziness, like, let's see how much I can get away with without having to do anything and get paid. Now, granted, like, I've had my experiences, like, I've worked in food and things like that, where my shift was like somebody else who came in after me. I had to make sure that my stuff was done, so that way I was considerate to the other person. I don't want the other person to be complaining about me and hating to come in after me, and I'm the one that's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to work with this girl, like she never does her job. Because I have worked with people that just don't do their job, and everybody complains about them, and you're that person at the job that's like please exit that girl out. I don't want her working with her, right? And it's like, when people are like that, when people don't do their jobs, they put in like a bad taste. You just have a bad taste in your mouth for that person in general. Like, your work ethic really does show who you are as a person.
100%. And like, for example, yesterday, we have a girl, she's young, and like, I always hate saying, like, using that as an excuse, but I have 2 people that are really young, and like, this is their first job, so I kind of like, kind of give them a little bit of slack because they don't know yet, you know what I mean? But one of them, he started off decent, and then he worked with that guy that I was telling you that we got rid of, and his whole work ethic went downhill. We stopped putting him with that guy, and me and this other girl like sat down with him, talked to him, got him back up, and now he's like one of my best workers. And, it's just, and that goes back because he's young and he's like influenced by who he's working with, whatever.
Right.
But at the same time, we told him once or twice and he got his shit together, which I respect. Like, if you don't know, you don't know. But if someone's correcting you and you do it, then there you go.
Right.
And he asked for certain things. He's like, can I have a checklist? Can I have this? So like, the initiative was there. Like, he wanted to be good. He just didn't know. You know what I mean? So now he's like one of my best workers. But on the other hand, I have this other girl who, when she applied, our application says weekend availability. So when you hear weekend availability, what does that mean to you?
You're going to have to work on weekends.
Right? She thought it meant she could only, like, someone who can only work weekends. Like, they can't work the rest of the week.
If he could only work weekends, she can't work weekends.
But, like, why would you think that? Because it says that we're
young.
I know, but she's just...
Is this her first job?
Yeah, but, like, also she's very... No, but let me tell you. So that's one thing, right? Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll give you that. She... I guess I can't. Like, I can't do it. I'm going to say her. Morgan is my right hand, right? I'm not talking bad about Morgan, so I'm just going to put her name out there. Morgan is great, right? So she was in charge of training this new girl from the beginning just because of, like, how their shifts lined up. And she told her the whole process of how to put shipments away on shelves. Like, because we have a whole system, like a whole inventory scanner type situation, right?
Right.
So she shows her that. She makes sure that she understands it. And she's like, okay, cool, you're good. Like, you know, she walked her through it. She watched her do it a couple times. And it was like, okay, cool, I'm going to go work on this other project real quick. Right? So Morgan thinking like she's good. She's got it because she showed like that she got it. She goes, she does her thing, and then she doesn't really check back in on her because, you know, she's got it, right? So then we come in the next day, and in our system, there's still stuff that's supposed to get put on shelves, but it's not in our area of stuff that still needs to get put away. So we were like, okay, so maybe she just, like, put the wrong number on shelves, or, like, you know, like, so that kind of thing. Because the whole process, it makes, like, once you know how it works, it works. Like, the system isn't that flawed, right? So then me and Morgan had to go through the scanner and find everything that supposedly wasn't put away, but that we didn't have in our pile of stuff that still had to go on shelves. And we had to find everything. And we figured out that she just decided that it was okay to go to the shipment area, pick something up, and put it on a shelf without scanning it through the system.
Wow.
So then me and Morgan had to literally go through the whole warehouse and scan stuff to see if it got put into the system yet. So.
Okay, okay. See, that sounds like a mistake I would make, okay?
Not when you got told like 10 times everything you put away, put it
That's true.
Before you put it on the shelf, put it in the system.
Right.
You know, because our shelves are like labeled with numbers, like everything has a home, every little thing, right? And like there was a couple items where like she put it in a new home, which is like fine, whatever, we get that. You don't know the warehouse yet, that's fine. We could easily just move it from that shelf to the shelf it's supposed to be. But it's the whole like, oh, cool, next item, without scanning it. You know what I mean? Putting it
which is a major part of the job.
Exactly.
Which is a major part of the job.
Which you got told 20 million times how to do. Morgan walked you through it. She like did it with you like for an hour. Yeah. That's all they worked on together. Right? So okay, whatever. We told her about it. Okay, maybe next time she'll be good. Shows up an hour late to her next shift. Her excuse was, oh, I don't have the schedule. You obviously do if you still showed up today. You just didn't.
I know.
You knew you worked today and just decided what time to come in. Like you thought you had free range of what time you could come in.
Oh my goodness.
You know what I mean? And then yesterday I was supposed to close. I was supposed to go in at 8:15 to train our new girl. And I get a call from my general manager at 2:00 and it was like, hey, can you go in now? And the new girl will close by herself for the first time. Because she's already been trained to close. And she's like, she's great, right? So I was like, yeah, why? What happened? And she's like, this girl that I was just talking about with the put away didn't show up for her shift and Morgan needs to go home because Morgan's literally been there all day and she has stuff to do. And I was like, okay, yeah, fine, I'll go in. I was like, I don't gotta close? Cool, like, say less. So then I go, and then I'm hoping that girl doesn't show up because, like, I don't want to deal with her, right? So she shows up, and all of a sudden, she's the best worker ever. Like, she's stocking everything, like, doing all this stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna let you do you because I don't want to deal with you, and you're getting shit done. But at the same time, she asked me, oh, where's the inventory button? It's a button that says inventory. Right there. Like it literally says when you log onto your scanner, it says inventory, orders. Orders is when you're packing. Inventory is when you're doing anything else in the back of the warehouse. And that's all you see. Like, because our scanner is literally a phone and it says inventory and orders. So I'm like,
right.
I was like, it's right there. And she's like, oh. And I'm like, and then like, I just can't. And then and she's a little socially awkward. But like
okay. See, and that's what makes
that's fine.
Okay, that makes me think of two things. This makes me think of two things, okay? Incompetence versus laziness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like some people are just lazy, like they know what to do, they know how to do it, they're just lazy. But then there's other people that it's like, you question their competence. You know what I mean? And especially
I question her competence because she's not lazy because she's always trying to do something.
Okay, and that's my second point is like, you said this was her first job. So like youngins with their first job, like me with my first job, I was so nervous to mess up. Like I cared so much about just doing my job right, as you should, Ellie. I think like your first job is like, okay, I need to do this right. Like this is my first experience. I'm nervous. This is important to me. You know, at the time it is. It's like a big deal.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like a big deal. You want to have like, you want to be like the best person there. You want to impress your boss, whatever, whatever. And like I just, and it goes back to, you know, our generation and just how I feel like people are missing that a little bit of like working is important. Having a good reputation at work is important. You know, making a good first impression is important. You want to make sure that what you do out there professionally, even if it is working in food or something, you're looked at as a professional at whatever you do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So act that way. It is important. Even if it's the smallest job, what you do out in the workforce is important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. And like, I feel like I sound like a bitch. Like, it's her first job, blah, blah, blah. But she's been there for a month and a half already. So it's like mistakes that like if she was making the first couple shifts, like I totally understand. Like, let's fix it. Let's work through it. You know, let's teach you the right way. But it's like when someone's told you a million times how to do something and you're still doing it and multiple people have told you and you don't even seem to like be trying to fix it, that's where the problem comes in.
That's the thing, not trying to be better, not trying to fix it. After your first mistake, okay, first two. Like, I'll give you, you know, 2 strikes.
I'll give you 3 strikes. You're good. Like,
right, because 3 strikes and then you're out, you know? So the first 2 is like, okay. But, like, it's the initiative. It's trying to do better. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, no matter what, like, I can't stress this enough. No matter how small or you feel like it's not important what you're doing at your job, like, it's just a side hustle. It's just whatever. It's an easy job. Like Ray was saying, her job is pretty easy and relaxed. Yeah. Like, it's pretty relaxed. But at the same time, you want to make the impression that you know what you're doing, and you want other people to be able to count on you as well. Like, as an employee in this business, like, you have to understand this is somebody's business, right? The people that own this business, this is their baby. This is their everything. And you're working for somebody who has slaved and put so much of themselves into this business to grow this business. Even though you're just an employee, it's important that you uphold or upstand your role in these things. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And going off of that, like, you know, some people are like, oh, well, because I felt like this about other jobs, like, oh, it's a shitty job, I'm not treated right, blah, 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 you know?
Oh, that's a whole other topic.
Ray has a whole story on that. But, like, I've been in that situation too, where I'm just like, I don't want to do, like, I'll start off doing my best, like, being amazing, because I don't want to, like, you know, toot my own horn, but I'm a good worker. Like, I don't care. Right. Every single manager, everyone's told me. So, like, I know my worth, and I'm not going to sit there and just slave away for a company that doesn't see it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, like, this company, I've been there 4 months. I'm already going for a promotion towards salary. Like, they see it. Like, I have 3 managers that are willing to back me, blah, blah, blah. But not only that, the pay is pretty good for what a warehouse job, because warehouse jobs don't make that much money. So the pay is pretty good for that. Full benefits if you want them. Like, you know, they treat all of their employees really well. They're constantly doing, like, giveaways. They're very family, like, oriented. Like, as a whole company, mind you, this company has places, or it has locations from freaking New York to now California, when they open in California later this year. So, like, they're countrywide, and we have one chat, which is kind of annoying, but it's one chat with every single location in it. Jeez. So, like, I can call the freaking owner of my company, like, the whole owner, if I needed to. So, like, it's a good company to work for. I mean, obviously, every company has its flaws and stuff, but a lot of our flaws are, like, IT stuff. But, like, human resources, customer service, like, that kind of stuff is so, like, okay, how do I make it better for my employees? So that alone to me, like, motivates me to be a good worker for this specific company, you know? Right. So, and like you're going, I don't think these kids understand that yet, because they haven't worked for a crappy company. So they don't know, like, oh wow, I'm actually treated really well here. And then I
Right.
told her,
Especially if it's their first job.
yeah, and I told her the other day, I was like, hey, like, you can't be showing up an hour, 2 hours late for your shift because any other job would send you home. You would not be here right now. And I would not be letting you stay the extra, because I felt bad. Because, like, she only works weekends and she's, like, trying to save for a car or whatever, and I'm too nice. So I let her stay until midnight instead of 10 so she can still get those 2 hours. And I
Right.
was like, but this is the last time you're getting that chance because any other company would send you home. Like, you wouldn't even be able to work an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm giving you the favor of letting you stay to make up those hours, you know? And I think she understood it, but also she just looked at me like the blank face. So I don't know. Like, I really don't know. And I didn't have the heart to tell her this, but the general managers are already like, okay, one more, I think she's out. Like, because
Damn.
we had
Well,
that
I mean,
we had that situation with the guy we just got rid of, and he kept giving him
right.
chances, and it just kept messing up our location numbers. And we can't have that as a company. As nice as you are as a person, if you're not a good worker, the company can't afford to keep you.
Right. And even if, like, okay, for, like you were saying, companies that you feel like don't appreciate you as a worker, that's a whole other thing. And I think, you know, at that point, you have the right to leave.
Yeah.
If you know your worth and if you are as good as you say you are, you know what I mean? Like, make sure that you do put in the work and you are one of a good worker in general. But what?
I was going to say, and that goes farther than just if you're getting good pay. Because my last job, I felt like, oh, they're paying me a lot more than everybody, so I don't have room to say anything. But there was more issues than just the pay. So just throwing that out there, that there's more to your worth than how much you're getting paid at a job. So.
Yeah, hello, like respect for one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's difficult for us because I think the workforce underneath us, or like, you know, the generation underneath who we are and going into the workforce, I'm a little nervous about, because like I think, and this is a whole thing about instant gratification in technology and not working towards something and seeing the results and seeing the success after. I feel like these young people now, oh my god, I sound like my mom. Me being a young person too, but like, it's true.
Different.
I've seen it.
You're like young adult, and we're talking about like teenagers going and getting their first job. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, it's true. But like the instinct, because they're so used to the internet and, you know, even shopping nowadays is like so instant, right at your door the next day, you know? So it's like all of this instant gratification you're so used to getting. And then when you go into the workforce and you realize like, oh my gosh, I actually have to like put in work to get my, you know, promotions or to get paychecks or to get self-respect here at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And like, I think it's just going to get worse, like with even going forward, because now with like Corona, you don't have kids that are in sports. And like, I'm the first person to be like, sports teach you that work and that discipline and that work ethic. Like,
yes, I agree.
Because like, for example, let's talk about cheer, because me and Ray both were on cheer for a long time. You were at freaking practices for what, 3-4 hours, and if you didn't hit it, oh sorry, we just extended practice another hour and a half.
Right.
Like, and if you had one person on that team that wasn't putting out their full work of capability, oh sorry, we just extended practice another hour.
Yeah, and you guys all get the punishment.
Yeah, and it's very team oriented, very like, okay, I gotta do good for myself, but not only for myself, but my whole team. Like,
that is exactly what it is like going out into the workforce, working with coworkers and having a business and being able to work together.
Yeah, and I think that's, like you said, first of all, this generation's so instant gratification. And now with all these regulations because of COVID, and I get it, safety first, obviously, but they're not able to be on a team right now, or they're not able to work with these coaches who, like, it's weird because coaches, a lot of times coaches don't even have like any like psychological training or anything, but coaches know how to get into your freaking head and make you want to work. Like,
right. And they make you, it like all discipline. It really makes a difference when you're in a sport versus when you're not. Like, I see it now with my brother who isn't able to be on a sport, and like, I watch that and I feel so bad because it's like, it teaches you so much more than just the sport itself. teamwork and
How
like
to
even
talk
just
to people on your team when they're not doing what they gotta do.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, all of those little things really benefit you when you're out in the real world. And like people that aren't getting that, it's sad. It's
Yeah. And
disappointing.
like that's why I say like if you guys have the chance while you're young, go get on something, even if it's not a sport, even if it's a club or like something very like, team based. It's gonna help you in the long run. You might not think it when you're young because I never thought of that while I
Yeah,
was like on the teams. But
same.
it does. And like it goes with anything. Football, you have people that have to protect you. Softball, if your third baseman's not paying attention, you're not going to make the out at third. Like it's very team oriented, very work based, and you could just take it to so many places in life. And it teaches you
Because it's
respect to yourself, to others,
mm-hmm,
how to value your hard work,
right.
what happens when you work hard, the awards you're going to get, the wins, the
Right.
competitions.
The respect for your authority, hello,
Yeah.
coaches and stuff like that. That's a big
Oh,
deal.
that used to bug me so much in cheer when people would talk bad to Rosa.
I know, you
I
know.
just wanted to be like,
Yeah.
she
Yeah,
doesn't
that
gotta
was
be here. She's not getting paid enough to be here.
she was not. She definitely was
Love
not.
you,
But
Rosa.
yeah, I love you, Rosa.
Because I know
See you
she
soon,
watches.
hopefully. No, but it even goes back to it
Yeah.
goes the basic of the basic is social skills. Being on a team and learning how to deal with people in general will help you so much when you're out in the real world and you need to work with them. And not just work with them, but get along with them because your work will benefit if you just get along, respect each other. And like I said, consideration in the beginning, like be considerate of who's coming in after you and the work that they have to do because you slacked off.
Exactly. And I think an important part of this, like, I know it sounds coming off all hard, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it's also about communicating to them. So, like, yeah, you have a crappy worker, whatever, but you don't know. Like, I try to think of it this way. I don't know if they have any special needs. I don't know if they just aren't socially there. I don't know if, like, this is their first job and they just really don't know and they're nervous to ask questions. Like, I try to take all of this into, like, consideration just because I am in like I'm not technically upper yet, but like I run the warehouse when my GM's not there basically. So when
Mm-hmm.
I have to deal with these people, the training, all this stuff, me and Morgan
Yeah.
together, and I try to take all these things into consideration before I go and report like, oh no, they suck.
Yeah.
And I try to figure out communicate with them as nicely as possible and not straight up be like, dude, you suck at your job. Like,
Right.
like what's going on? What do you not understand? Do you have any questions?
And
And
that's
if you
great
don't,
that you I was just going to say that's great that you do that because not every boss, general
yeah,
manager is going to be that understanding.
exactly.
You know,
And that goes back to like if you're in like my position, be that person for them
be
because
that
remember like your first time having a job and how nervous you were to ask
first of all,
questions and like,
yeah.
so tell them like, hey, it's safe to come to me. What's going on? Like, let me know what's going on. But in the reverse side of that sounded weird. If you're the person that it's their first job, they're there to help you. And if you have a good boss, if you have a good manager, they're gonna answer your questions. And that right
Mhm.
there is gonna be your first telltale sign if this is a good job. If you have crappy managers and crappy bosses that aren't willing to help you, aren't willing to help you succeed, then maybe you need to look for a different place to work
I was going to say,
because
yeah, because I've been on that. Because it's like easier said than done, right? Communicate your problems, communicate your questions. No question is a stupid question, you know? But I've been on the other side where I'm like scared to
yeah,
even bring up to my manager because she scares me. And I
yeah,
don't want to look dumb and stupid and like, what the heck? You don't know this? You don't know this answer, but you've been doing this job for so long. What do you mean? And it's like, but you didn't teach it to me. Anyways, point is if that's the case then you probably need to it's not right for you, you know, if you
yeah.
feel like you genuinely cannot communicate to your upper management or whatever, that's not the job for you and it's
Excuse
made
me.
for somebody else with tough skin will be able to handle that and maybe it's just not for
Or
you, move on to the
yeah,
next.
or that company's just not gonna franchise whatever it's just not gonna do well, and you don't want to be
Yeah,
in the middle of that either.
true.
So just kind of have a thick. I don't want to say have a thick skin, but like know what you're going into, and kind of have and like limits for yourself and your self-worth. Like, is it real? Do I really need, and granted, like sometimes you have to deal with it because you need that money, I get it, but like also in the back of your head, be looking for another place to go to, because
Right. Always, and that kind of goes back to what we were saying yesterday. Always try to expand.
Yeah.
Always try to be looking for the next thing. Always don't just sit on your butt and be because you're comfortable.
Right.
You know, oh, I'm comfortable here. You know, even though it's not really satisfying me and like what I want to be doing in my life, but it gives me money. And like Ray said, we get it. You know, money is money. We need that. But at the same time, keep looking, keep doing other things. Like, always expand yourself. Don't ever feel like you are limited to this because of your circumstance or because of your experience.
yeah,
You know?
just to give an example for that, like a couple years ago when I worked at the pet store, I was only getting paid 11 something an hour versus at Jersey Mike's where I was before that, I was getting paid almost 13 an hour. But
Wow.
being with the animals and having that family like job was just so much, and I was still at home. I had no bills. Like, let me throw that out there because that's an important factor. Like, I had no bills to pay, so I could take the pay cut. You know what I mean? But knowing I didn't like absolutely need the money, and the stress that it was Jersey Mike's versus how much fun I had at the pet store, it was so much more important to me because I was like, I'm young, I have no bills. When am I ever going to be able to do whatever freaking job I want to do right now?
Yeah.
So that's why I did that, and that's still my favorite job to this day.
Really?
I can't survive off that job, but
Right.
you
Right.
know, it was a good job for the in between, and I was going to school full time, so like it was perfect, and it was like
Yeah.
honestly great to like have a stressful day at school and then go to work and play with like little guinea pigs all day. It was like perfect,
yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
So that's another thing. If you don't need the money, like if you're still living at home and you don't have crazy bills to pay, or you only have, you know, a couple things to pay for and you just want play money, go do something fun. Go, you know, because whenever in your life are you not going to have all these crazy bills, rent to pay, who knows, children to
Jeez.
feed. I have 10 children to feed.
Oh.
You know, so go do something fun or something that like you wouldn't think you'd be able to do
I
any other
agree.
time. Because at
I
that point, it
agree.
doesn't matter what you're getting paid because you just need the
Yeah.
fun money.
Honestly, you are going to have to worry the rest of your life about how much you're going to get paid salary, if it's going to be able to cover your lifestyle. You will have your whole life to worry about that.
Yeah.
So if you are young and like Ray said, live with your parents, explore, you know, there's so many more options that rather than food out there.
Oh.
Like, you know,
If you
food
can
is
avoid
easy.
food, if you can avoid food, avoid food. Food is
I
the
second that motion.
worst job ever. Like
You know, it does give you character. I feel like
Yeah.
food,
It brought
it
me,
really does.
it taught me how to stand up for myself a lot.
There you go.
So
There you go.
I mean, there's that. But if you can go straight retail, go retail because you still learn a lot retail wise,
True.
and you know
True.
all of that. You still deal with bitchy customers. It's just not. People are more picky about their food than they are about their clothes. Let's just say that.
Right.
So the type of stuff you get working in a restaurant versus retail, because let me just give you an example. I worked retail and I've worked food, obviously. Food, how can you be out of that? You're a restaurant. Why are you out of that? Retail, oh, you're out of that size? Oh, okay, thank you. I don't mean why. I mean, people eat, don't they? Like,
But people are serious about their food, man. Me being one of them, honestly. Like, I hate when my favorite restaurant is out of, you know, guac. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you're out? Like, what? That's what you... Anyways, yeah. So,
see,
me being one of them, I know.
Me being there, oh, because, like, obviously me too. But me working there and knowing the type of fucking people that they hire, I understand now. I'm like, oh, so your morning people didn't cut your freaking avocados, and now you have someone back there who's supposed to be washing dishes so they can get out on time. He's out there back there cutting avocados. And guac takes about 30 minutes to make at Chipotle because it's freaking fresh. And oh wait, they didn't cut the onions either, so now he has to cut onions, so that's like another 15 minutes. So
It just goes back to being considerate of the people that come after you.
And guess what? Morning people's not gonna get bitched at by the customers. It's us at night who why is it not prepped? Just because it's been
Mm-hmm.
busy and we had to do everything. Morning crew basically didn't have to show up today because we did everything anyways. So, anyways, guys, keep that in mind
Anyways,
next time you go somewhere and they're out of something. Just ask them. Like, honestly, I was waiting for the day until a customer like understood. I was like, oh, so your morning didn't do anything for you? So I could be like, oh, thank you. Thank you. So if you're somewhere and they don't have something, ask them. Be like, oh, so did morning just not set you up? Like, I'm sorry for that.
right,
Just
right.
apologize. Be like,
Just apologize. Feel bad for the workers because sometimes it's not always their fault. It's the people that come in
exactly.
before.
Exactly. And I mean, granted, if it's like every single time you go, I recommend going to a different location.
Yeah, at that point, that's your fault. Okay, at that point, you as the consumer you should know better.
Oh, just like there's certain like in Rosemead area, like I won't go to the Chipotle in Rosemead for some reason. I don't know why. I only go to the one in Temple City.
Okay, I mean, honestly, ever since you've told me, I don't really go to that one either.
Yeah, I don't
Granted, I
know.
don't live near that one anymore, so it's like,
But
but
the one
yeah,
by your house is pretty good too.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
But
Anyways,
anyways,
enough about
guys.
Chipotle.
Anyways, guys. Basically, long story short, do your job, ask questions, know your worth. Don't be that
Mhm.
person that everyone hates to work with or hates to come in
Yes.
after. And,
Yes.
there's more to a job than just the pay, and make sure you're getting treated
Yes.
right.
Right. I agree.
But yeah,
That's all.
that's our little
All
rant
right.
for today because that was my life this past week. As you can tell,
That.
no makeup. I'm dead tired. Like,
Oh yeah.
but it's
Poor
okay.
Ray.
It's okay.
But she's still here. She's still thriving. We both are.
And
So
I'm making the money.
yeah. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you
All
next
right.
week.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.